Tucker Whitman,
Here.
Andy Dennison,
Present.
Ben Vitale,
Present.
Grant Kyle. Here. Paul Pinkney's excused. Aileen McNabb Coleman,
Present.
Joe DeForest,
Present.
Terry Baxter,
Aye.
Joseph Bennett,
Here.
Frank Reginelli,
Here.
Patrick Mahonic,
Here.
Timothy Lattimore,
Here.
Michael Didio is excused. Ryan Foley,
Present.
Keith Batman.
Present. If we could rise for the pledges of allegiance, and if we could remember our sheriff and our fellow legislator, Mr. Didio. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So, I've been asked to remind people to speak into the microphone, so I pulled mine forward. I'm going to make a real attempt. So if everyone can. Apparently, we're being scored on this, so I guess there's going to be a little note sent to everyone based upon how well you could be heard. So just so you know. I don't know if those notes are going to be public or not, but I know I'm speaking directly into mine just in case.
Deaths. Our sincere condolences to the families and friends of Jim Zolzinski, husband of Marcia Zolzinski, from the coroner's office. Rita Justino, mother-in-law of Lloyd Hoskins, a STOP DWI and Youth Bureau Director.
Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing on the local law to establish a sustainable energy program, loan program in Cayuga County. So you'll have an opportunity throughout the meeting for the next about hour to speak on the law. But if there's anyone at this point who would like to say anything about that law, I'd like to recognize them. Does anyone wish to speak? Okay, Tracy, come forward. And if you could state your name, your address, and hold your comments to 3 to 5 minutes. Great. And also, I would remind you to speak into the microphone if you would. Thanks.
Is this acceptable?
I think so.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tracy Barrier. I live at 16 Havens Avenue in Owasco. I'm actually here as the Executive Director of the Cayuga Economic Development Agency. The PACE financing that's being considered by the county is a good tool for the Economic Development Toolbox. It's a program that allows alternative financing for businesses and nonprofits and other types of organizations that don't necessarily have access to traditional financing. So it would open up an opportunity for these organizations to make some improvements to their properties that would help to improve their efficiencies and the bottom line in their businesses and their organizations. So we just wanted to I just wanted to express that on behalf of our board. They did review the information a few months ago at a board meeting, and just say that it's a good opportunity from an economic development standpoint to have this type of a financing program available.
So,
That's it.
thank you very much. Would anyone else like to address this law at this point? Okay, I'll be asking again. So we have a couple of proclamations. Our first the first one is for recognizing 2017 as the Year of the Woman in Cayuga County, and I think to accept this this proclamation is Aileen McNabb Coleman and Sue Dwyer. So if you all could come forward. Whereas 2017 is the 100th anniversary of the passage in New York State of the Suffrage Act, granting women in New York State full political rights. And whereas New York was the first eastern state to pass full suffrage for women, an act that led to the passage of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, granting full suffrage to women nationwide. And whereas true and full citizenship for women was not accomplished merely by achieving suffrage, but was and is an ongoing struggle for equal rights. And whereas not until the federal civil rights legislation was passed in the 1960s were the full range of citizenship rights legally mandated to include women and people of every and any race, national origin, religious conviction, and political persuasion as rights of citizenship. And whereas even today, women still must struggle for full and equal participation in the labor force and in political and economic life. And whereas the great contributions of women to the progress of our nation often go unacknowledged, and whereas if we wish to protect the rights of women in our democratic society, it is important to recognize, declare, and uphold those rights. And whereas as the dignity of all persons must be protected, women have the right to live without fear for their physical or emotional safety, and the right to pursue their own dreams in a society that recognizes their value. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Keith Batman, Chairman of the Cayuga County Legislature, and fellow legislators do hereby proclaim 2017 the Year of the Woman in Cayuga County, and urge our residents to recognize and celebrate the crucial role that women of all races and ethnic and political backgrounds have played in our country's history, as well as their important place throughout Cayuga County today.
I'm very honored to accept this. I know that there were a lot of women that came before me, and that is why I am here today and I'm able to be here today. There were a lot of sacrifices made, and I just want to thank this body for recognizing how important it is to celebrate the Year of the Woman. And there's some elected women sitting right there, and Aileen as well, and I want to thank you for coming.
As stated in this proclamation, and the 100th anniversary of the passage of the Suffrage Act in New York State, we need to recognize and celebrate the crucial role that all women of all races and ethnic and political backgrounds have played in the history of this country, this region, and this county. If you look out to the seats of the Cayuga County Legislature tonight, you can see the single chair that I currently occupy as the only female legislator. This picture is a reminder that we have more work to do, not only at the county level and in politics, but in business and in all areas of our lives. Let this anniversary reignite the voices of the women of our county. Let this anniversary activate all of us to encourage our mothers, sisters, daughters, neighbors, and friends to rise up and occupy the seats at the table, to share their talents and experiences, and to overall enhance our community. I am so grateful to have earned the opportunity to represent my community in these chambers, and I'm very honored to take part in accepting this proclamation tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more proclamation, and that's for the Auburn Players Community Theater. So I think we have a couple people from the group. Just one? Just you? Oh. I had understood there was going to be.
There was going to be.
I guess we have to do with what we have. Thank you for coming.
Love here, I can feel it.
Bob and I worked together for a number of years, so I have the utmost respect for him, as you know from my smart aleckiness. So, whereas the Auburn Players Community Theater has been producing outstanding community theater since 1961, and whereas over the years of production, the company has been recognized with numerous awards and accolades, and whereas the production of Almost Maine won multiple awards for acting, direction, and production, whereas Almost Maine won the Theater Association of New York State competition for Best Production in New York State. And whereas the cast and crew will be representing Auburn, Cayuga County, and New York State at the regional competition in Wilmington, Delaware on April 8th. And whereas the winner of this regional competition will move on to the AACT national competition in Rochester, Minnesota. And whereas the cost may be a problem of transport and house the company of 17 actors and crew for the 3 days that they must be at the regional competition, now therefore be it resolved that I, Keith Batman, Chair of the Cayuga County Legislature, join fellow legislators in recognition of the work, art, and productions of the Auburn Players Community Theater and declare February 28th, 2017, Auburn Players Community Theater Day, and encourage the residents of Auburn and Cayuga County to recognize and support the Auburn Players Community Theater.
I may say a few words. Keith gave me the microphone. There's time. First, let me thank you. Thank you for this. The Auburn Players have been an active part of this community for a number of years, 61 as the proclamation said. I first came into this town in 1979. At that point, there were 3 active community theaters working in this city, and there have been more since then. I'm so thrilled that I came to this town to work at the college and have been here ever since. This means a lot. I was one of the directors for Almost Maine. To win this show and then to move on to the ESTA Festival in Wilmington, Delaware is just going to be another feather in our cap. This will be the 3rd time I've been lucky enough to go to a regional competition, and hope we keep on going. We are fundraising. We have a GoFundMe campaign. Anybody feels like giving money to help us get there? Again, 17 people that we have to house for a weekend, and plus travel to get down there. And if we luckily win and go to Rochester, Minnesota, not this one, that's getting everybody up to Rochester, Minnesota. So we'll be coming back and talk to you again. But for now, thank you, and have a good meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can I just say, Helen Burke and Jean Wright were 2 great women that I've been associated with through political campaigns. And I just wanted to state that the amendment, the 19th Amendment, they're honoring that amendment with a 19-mile race in Seneca Falls pretty soon. So I think that's will be well attended too. So my hats are off. They've gotten me elected many times. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we move on, is there anyone else who would like to speak to the local law? Okay. In that case, the public to be heard. Okay. I would like to invite up Nelsa Sullivan. Nelsa, I know you're here. Oh, there you are. Nelsa, if you could state your name and address.
Nelsa Sellover, 743 Lavana Road, Aurora, New York. And thank you, Chairman Batman. And I'd like to first say thank you, too, because Mr. Batman happens to be my legislative representative, and I think you've done a great job representing our area.
Thanks,
Keith.
Nelsa.
Thank you. This is in response to the Year of the Women Proclamation. And I want to thank Chairman Batman and members of the legislature. Thank you so much for the presentation of the Year of the Woman Proclamation at tonight's meeting. As a longtime member of the Women's Republican Club, I am honored to speak on behalf of our more than 150 members and to all who represent all those women who came before us. Our club was organized on February 6, 1923, almost exactly 94 years ago. And our members have been working hard ever since to make our community a great place to live and work. We know how important it is to remember all the hard work and sacrifices of so many people made in order to give women the right to vote. Our club focuses this year is to commemorate our 100th year celebration by holding several events that will be open to the public. And I want to add here, too, that it was not just women who fought for the right to vote. It was a lot of men who walked beside them, and that, including my own grandparents. The first event is called Voices for Votes. It will be held on April 6th at 5:30 at Auburn Public Theater. It will include a timeline presentation with people from our community portraying the historic characters who play a vital role in the fight of the suffrage. The proceeds to this event will support programs at Cayuga Seneca Community Action Agency that empower local women to achieve and sustain self-sufficiency. The second event will be a family walk/run on August 19th at Hoops Park. Proceeds from that event will go to the Jean M. Wright Scholarship at Cayuga Community College. This scholarship will be awarded to a local female student. I am sure Jean is smiling down on all of us tonight. She was a past president of the club and a role model and mentor for all of us. Jean was one of the first women supervisors during a time in our history when that was a very rare occurrence. I would like to recognize another trailblazer, our past president and county clerk, Sue Dwyer. She was the first and only woman to be elected on to a county-wide office here in Cayuga County. Thank you to all of the women who are here tonight to celebrate this special occasion. I would like to recognize and say thank you to Aileen McNabb Coleman, the sole female county legislator, for making the decision to run for office. I would also like to recognize women who came before her. Jane Bowen, who was here tonight with us, Linda Post Van Buskert, Cindy Aikman, Linda Townsend, and remembering Ruth Scholes, Ann Petrus, and Betty Graney. We need more women just like them to take an active role in government. Again, I would like to thank our county legislators for presenting this proclamation, especially you, Keith, thank you, and for the work you do and the time you dedicate to the county government. I know it's often thankless, but you do a great job. You are all invited to those events I mentioned and to participate in a year-long celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you. So, do any other legislators have anyone that wishes to be heard? Okay, in that case,
Minutes for approval, 124:17 and 221:17.
Mr. Dennison, second, Mr. Bennett. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Community College report, Doctor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dan Dobell. I'm sitting in for Brian Durant. While Brian sends his regards, he is in Albany advocating for more state dollars for the community college. I would like to recognize John Camardo, our trustee, for being here this evening. I just have a few bullet points and then open up for questions. We just got done with a very positive audit at the college right now. We just finished it up, and it was one immaterial finding, one of the most positive audits that I've ever been a part of, so that's really good about that right now. We're working on budget development at the college. We're working on our enrollment estimates for the upcoming year. We're working on 5-year budgets. So the budget managers have till Friday to put their budgets in, and then we start hashing that out as a senior staff. Spring 2017 enrollments are up. They're on target with our enrollment estimates right now. So right now that the year is playing out the way we thought it would for community college applications for fall 2017 are up compared to the previous year. So that's a pretty positive development right now. And then my last bullet point is simply we have spring open houses coming up on our 2 respective campuses on Saturday, March the 4th at the Auburn campus from 10 to noon, and then on the Fulton campus on Saturday, March the 11th from 10 to noon. So you have Brian's report there. Again, he sends his regards to everybody. He is in Albany, again, trying to find money for for our community college. I'll now open it up for questions.
Are there any questions? Mr. Dennison?
Yes, sir.
Is the enrollment up both here and at the Fulton campus, or just
Yes, applications
overall?
are up. Applications are up across the board.
Mr. Lattimore?
Is the Fulton campus at 700? What is the actual enrollment? You say it's up from 600?
This is just applications, not FTE, okay? So we'll, the jury's still out as to whether that's gonna actually turn into real live FTE for 2018. But we're seeing about a 2 to 3% on the application side.
In order to have a good financial picture, we need at least 700 bodies, or?
No, right now, the FTE for both campuses is about 2510. That's our budgeted FTE for the combined campuses. And about 60% of that is Fulton, okay?
And if the governor goes ahead with his plan and says a 4-year,
The Excelsior Scholarship?
yes.
That, you know what, SUNY is providing us with updates on that. That's very positive. We think it's a step in the right direction. We're not sure what form it's gonna take. Is it gonna be money to the college? Is it gonna be a scholarship money? We're not sure, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. Putting their money in we think, the right place, higher education.
And have we made any progress with the default on the loan, the mortgage?
We're still working on that. It's still unresolved. We think progress is being made, but there's not a lot to report right now.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay. Thank you very
everybody.
much. Okay, committee reports or reports from individual legislators. Ms. McNabb Coleman.
I have a couple of items. March to Lake Day is going to take place this Saturday, March 4th at the Auburn Public Theater. The discussions will center around the status of Owasco Lake, plans to upgrade the water filtration plant, nutrient reduction projects, and harmful algal bloom or HABs. The event is co-sponsored by WQMA, AULA, IAGT, and the Finger Lakes Institute of Hobart William Smith Colleges. I believe it starts at 9:30. Let me just check. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning and goes to 12:30. It's very informative. As you know, we have a lot going on this year with the status and the health of our lakes, so please join us for that. This Sunday, March 5th, is just a little plug. Multiple Sclerosis Resources of CNY is holding their annual MS Walk in Destiny at Destiny USA. Last March, I presented a proclamation to Susan Rosinko to commemorate MS Awareness Month. Susan and I have combined our teams for this Sunday, and we're doing fundraising effort to benefit local people living with MS in Central New York. So I just wanted to take a minute to plug that.
Okay. Thank you. Any other reports? Mr. Lattimore.
Aileen, there's been some debate in regards to who should do the watershed inspection. Is there any further development on it, or
What do you mean, who should?
whether soil and water should, or?
The watershed inspection program is currently in charge of that. They work very closely with soil and water, but they have the charge of inspecting the watershed. They just work closely together. There isn't any, that's not changing at all.
Are you talking about where they would be housed? I think that's the issue.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh, okay.
the rules are not changing. They may be changing location, but that's still up in the air. There's many things to consider.
Are there any other reports from committees, legislators? Mr. Foley.
Mr. Chairman, we were able to attend NISAC together. I thought that was a good time, very informative. We attended Native American Affairs Committee together. I'm sure you'll report on that, maybe in your report, so I'll skip that. One of the workshops that I was pleased I was able to attend was developing an employee social media policy for your county. What that basically is if you have county employees that go onto their personal social media accounts or the county's social media accounts and say something negative. Does the county have any kind of policy in place for that type of stuff? So luckily we do. I have talked with Steve Tobin. If any legislators have any questions about that, please ask him at Government Operations. But believe it or not, some counties that were present there did not have a policy about that. So, and it can be, it's something that you don't need, and it's something that you need, and then you're okay until you don't have it, like a gun or something. I don't know. There's a saying in it, but I just wanted to report it.
Okay, thank you.
Did you say gun?
Right.
Somebody's got a gun?
Okay.
Okay. Are there, thank you. Are there any other reports from legislators? Ms. Lattimore?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to indicate that I had a nice time with our health consortium. I know you made some changes there, but I would like to say that I have contributed a lot to that in regards to the Canada RX, saving a lot of money on our drug buy. I know that I've been replaced by Mr. Vitale, and I know that there's been a lot of changes on the federal level in regards to whether or not to repeal and replace the Obamacare. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But I know you sent me an email saying that I hadn't appeared at a few of the meetings, and I just want to correct the record saying that my IT that works on my phone, I never got any notice of those meetings, but I have 45 years in the business, so I do know a little bit about that subject. So, but the IT didn't work on that particular one, so I just want to correct the record that, sometimes 10 o'clock meetings are hard to get to when you're working. I know retirees might be able to get there a little sooner, but just for the record.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or reports from individual legislators? Very good, thank you. So, my report. Mr. Foley touched on NICEAG. He and Ms. McNabb Coleman and I attended and I too found it productive. I particularly like the fact that I took time when in Albany to meet with Senator Helming, our new senator from the 54th Senate District, which includes most of the I'm directionally challenged. I have to think east, west, most of the west side of Cayuga County. I found her very receptive, and I think she's going to serve us well. One of the things that I found particularly helpful is that her background is as a town supervisor and a member of a board such as this in Seneca County. So she was immediately familiar with a number of the issues that we face, and so that's encouraging, and look forward to working with her. I think the comptroller gave one of the keynote addresses, and I took that opportunity to ask him to take a more active role in shining a light on the unfunded mandates. Everyone talks about it, but it seems to me that he has a potentially important role to play in terms of bringing to light the financial issues that those impose upon both the state and the county government. So we'll see if anything comes of that, but it was a great opportunity, and I learned a lot, as I'm sure Aileen and Brian did. So it was a very good opportunity. And Mr. Lattimore was able to attend the one day as well. So that's always productive. I met with the Senator Helming this last week, along with the mayor of Aurora and the president of Wells College, to talk about the water situation in Aurora and also the hydrilla infestation in Cayuga Lake. I've mentioned the hydrilla infestation in passing before, but it was only recently I discovered the extent of it.